President Biden says that he has no regrets over when the public learned about classified documents and official records found at his home and a former office.
As we found a handful of documents were filed in the wrong place. We immediately turned them over to the archives of the Justice Department. We're fully cooperating, looking forward to getting this resolved quickly. I think you're going to find there's nothing there. I have no regrets. I'm following what the lawyers have told me they want me to do. It's exactly what we're doing. There's no there. Thank you.
So again, the distinction the president seems to be making is when he says he has no regrets, is he's saying that he's following the direction of the Department of Justice and the investigators who are asking for these documents. So those comments that he made in California yesterday, he made while touring the storm damage there. He said it bothered him that he was being asked about it while there's still a, quote, serious problem in the Golden State. So let's bring in Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes for more on this. So Nancy, are we to understand what the president was suggesting there, that when he says he has no regrets? I just want to be clear on what he means by
it's not about moving the documents.
It's not about removing the documents and keeping them at his home. The way I understand it, Nancy, it's about the fact that he is following the guidance and direction of the folks who are asking him to return those documents.
I think there's several ways you could read it. I think you're correct. What struck me when he said that was that he was trying to beat back some of the stories that have been written, including by CBS News, about the fact that he was frustrated that some classified documents ended up being packed somehow into his personal boxes that went to his home and to his office at the Penn Biden Center. And so this was him trying to say he actually doesn't have any regrets and that there's no there. Basically trying to tell reporters, look, there's nothing to see. We're following the guidance. And he even added that he's looking forward to getting this resolved quickly, essentially suggesting that he thinks this is all going to amount to nothing. I think it was notable that when he made those comments, he was clearly reading off of some prepared notes, which is not typically something that he would do, but he's being very cautious, obviously, now that the Department of Justice is involved and now that a special counsel has been named. There are certain things he can say and certain things he can't.
All right, so why might the president why do you think he sort of went on the record now? He's been ignoring questions up until now.
So the cynic in me, Anne-Marie, would say that he waited until he had a moment where he wasn't here at the White House surrounded by dozens of reporters, but had a smaller group of reporters following him there on the ground in California. And so, you know, he wasn't getting questions shouted by 20 or 30 reporters, but fewer of them. And beyond that, he chose a moment where he could say, why are you asking me about this instead of what I'm here to see, which is this very serious situation. I'm touring disaster damage, and all you want to ask me about is a handful of pesky documents. Where are your priorities, ladies and gentlemen of the press? And of course, the reason they're asking him about that is because he hasn't answered those questions by and large at events that he has held here at the White House. The last time he spoke about it, when he also took just one question, was when he was at a summit in Mexico.
Yeah, and as you know, Nancy, the president campaigned on transparency, and he struck a contrast between what he hoped to accomplish as president in terms of transparency with the press and with the American people versus his predecessor. And of course, you and the other White House correspondents know that this administration, for whatever reason, has been less than transparent on a number of issues, including this one. But you do have some reporting that you have been digging into on the timing of President Biden's re-election announcement. So what do you know?
Right. So there had been some questions about whether this new documents controversy would perhaps affect his timeline for when he announced his re-election bid, which he has consistently said that he would do. What I've been told is that no, it won't affect the timing, and that he is still planning to announce his bid for re-election sometime after the State of the Union address, which is scheduled for February 7th. So perhaps mid to late February, perhaps even early March, he would maybe go on the road after the State of the Union to tout some of the policies that he'll be laying out in that major address, and then use the increased attention as a springboard to then go ahead and say, and I am running for re-election in 2024.
All right, Nancy Cordes for us at the White House. Nancy, as always, we appreciate you. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too, Vlad and Anne-Marie.